Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today we're playing with the Plum Grove collection from 49 and Market, which features stunning pattern papers, rub-ons, tags, coordinating laser cut ephemera, plus a package of fabric tape. This collection is absolutely stunning, as we would expect from anything from 49 and Market. So I'm going to move aside a couple of items here. We'll get back to those in a second, but this gives us the chance to take a closer look at some of the pattern papers to start with. So this is the 6x8 collection pack, and this contains 28 sheets of 6x8 pattern papers, 3 of each design, plus a sheet of fussy cut images. And as I'm flipping through here, you'll notice that these are all double-sided, plus everything is designed to coordinate perfectly. Now you've also got this classic 49 and Market style, which is a beautiful soft watercolor effect. Lots of florals, butterflies, you've got some faux text and some faux texture in here as well. They are so gorgeous, and they're just really easy to work with, which I absolutely love. Now here's that sheet of fussy cut elements, so you've got these to play with too. Okay, so stack these all together, and let's take a look then at the next element in the collection, which is a set of rub-on transfers. Now this has 6 sheets of images, and you can see them here, but let's take a quick flip through. You've got flowers, you've got butterflies, you've got some foliage, then you've also got some really nice faux texture elements here, as well as text. And these will come in handy for your card focals and for the inside of your cards too. Then next we have a set of ephemera laser cuts. And again, you can see these images all here. Now these are really beautiful, soft and elegant designs, really easy to punch out from the backing piece. They look really easy and elegant and just add a beautiful touch to your card projects. So there you can see a few more of those. Really fun to play with. Then we've also got a set of tags. Now you saw the package here, and I've taken out a couple of these so that you can see. Now you've got 18 tags in this set. They all have a metal grommet and a string. Now this means you can use them, of course, on your projects. You could also simply tie one onto a gift package as well. Now many of them will have images on them. You also will have several that have just this beautiful faux texture effect. So these are really simple to add a message, maybe a rub-on or maybe a dazzle as well. So lots of fun for personalizing those. And then last but not least is our box of fabric tape. So I'm going to show you the box, but I think it's also nice to see what the patterns will look like. So here you can see we've got 4 of these designs. You've got a nice wide floral design. This is about 2.5 inches wide. And this coordinating plum colored one is a little bit more than 1 inch wide. And then you've got these 2 coordinating pieces that are the standard 1/2 inch of washi tape or fabric tape. But just take a look. These are gorgeous and a lot of fun to work with. Now I'm going to show you the box again, because there's one more thing I want to point out. Included in the box is this little cutter. And this will just clip right onto the front of the box, and you can use this to cut your fabric tape. So that's a really nice extra thing that 49 and Market has done, just to make it a little bit easier to access your supplies. So as you can see, we have a lot to play with today. I've got a couple of projects and some demos as well. I'm really glad that you're here. So come play with us. Let's start with this easy card, which features a combination of pattern papers, laser cut ephemera, and rub-ons. Now with this collection, you have so many beautiful contrasting light and dark colors, and I wanted to play around with that a little bit. So I first covered my card front with a light pattern paper, then worked in a layer of this darker plum colored cardstock. Now the center section here is light, but the varied shades of the pink and the plum colored butterflies really helps to bridge the gap between the light and the dark colors and kind of pull everything together while this little green butterfly adds a gentle touch of contrast. Let me show you the papers that I'm working with here, and you can get a better sense of this. So here is the piece that I've covered my card front with, and as you can see, there's some beautiful shading and texture on here. You've got some text on here as well. This is beautiful just on its own, so you can certainly just cover your card front with this, add a few butterflies, and you're good to go. But you can also work in some additional layers. Now here I've added in this darker plum colored cardstock, and here again you can see lots of texture. I can even read some script down here as well. You've got some fun light and dark shades. And then on top I've added a butterfly sheet. Now you're probably noticing it's not exactly the same one. You've got a mirror image of this sheet, which gives you just another option for design. So the other fun thing you can do here is really play with the proportions of the space in between each of these designs. So if I wanted to create a wider border here, I could make this one a little bit narrower and then have something that looks completely different. So here I've got about the same width in between that dark purple and then this lighter base element. So you could have this one be wider. You could also do the opposite and have that plum colored piece be wider. So don't forget, when you're layering and mixing and matching your pattern papers, you can really play with the dimensions and the proportions of which color is showing the most. Now, another thing that I've done here around on the edges of all of my pattern papers is I've inked the edges with my gold metallic ink pad. Now, this is one that I just never put away. It's always out on my work table. I use it for pretty much all of my inking in between my different pattern papers. And it adds a nice soft effect. It's metallic, but it's not a really glittery metallic. It's a nice, soft, warm gold. And all I do is just sort of shuffle this along the edge. And I think you can see that, but let me bring in a piece of white cardstock here. And there you can really see that soft shading on here. And that just adds another nice touch of dimension. And what I've done is simply inked along all of the edges of my different pattern papers and also around the outside edge of my card. So it's a subtle touch, but it's a nice one just to add a little bit of depth and dimension. Okay, so I'm going to move aside these and let's take another look at the elements that I've used on the card front. This beautiful botanical is from the Laser Ephemera pack, and you can see how delicate it is. Now, I really recommend for gluing something this delicate, I like the Cosmic Shimmer Cosmic Acrylic Glue. It's got a really fine tip nozzle on here, which means that you can apply light touches of glue just to the areas where you need it without that glue getting everywhere. And it dries really securely as well. Then I've got a couple more ephemera pieces here. I've got this ticket and I've got this sentiment. Those are popped up on some foam tape. The butterfly image is also a laser cut, and I've popped that up on foam tape too. Then here I have another butterfly laser cut image. Now this one just happened to perfectly fit on top of the butterfly that's printed underneath. So I added that with some foam tape just to overlap the botanical and really help lead your eye through the card project. Now at the top you can see the Good Vibes rub-on. Now these are really easy to apply, so let me do a quick demo with this. And I'm just going to show you, this is one of the sheets of rub-ons in the collection. And as you can see, you've got your rub-ons on this one top sheet, and then you've got a liner here. So when you decide which image you want to transfer, grab a pair of scissors and cut that image out. So say it's this butterfly here, and cut out both of those sheets. So you'll trim them out together, and then you'll have a piece that looks like this. And the reason you want to keep that liner on there is just so that you're not handling the rub-on portion, because it can transfer to your hands or can kind of get sticky on there. Okay, let me bring in a piece of this beautiful cardstock. And then what you'll do is just remove that back liner piece. And you can kind of position your butterfly. Take a look and see where you might want it to go, over here like this. Maybe you want it separate. But you can really kind of figure out where you want it to go before you commit. So what I'm going to do is pop this down here. We'll have the butterfly angling in here. And then I'm just going to place this down. Now I've got a little extra tab of plastic here. I'm going to fold that back so I've got something to sort of hold on to. And then what I'll do is smooth this down with my finger just to make sure that I've got it really well in place. And it's in place, so it's not going to be sliding around while I'm transferring it. You do have a tool included in the packet, so it's this little rub-on applicator tool, and this is what you're going to use to burnish your rub-on. Okay, so I'm using a gentle but a firm touch here. I'm using the angled portion of the tool, so I'm not sort of stabbing into it. And I'm just going to go around all the outside edges. And you can take your time with this, so don't feel like you have to rush. Really get those edges on there. And as much of this as I can the first time around. If I don't get everything transferred though, first time around, not a problem, and I'll show you why. Okay, so I've got this little handle that I've created, and what I'm going to do is just gently and slowly pull this back. And as I am doing this, I can see on this plastic piece that I don't have any residual design. So I'm transferring all of this, and then what I'm going to do is pop that back down and gently pull up this side too, just to make sure I've transferred everything. Now, if at this point I realize, uh-oh, I didn't get the outside edge of the wing or something, I'll pop it back down and go back and do some more burnishing until it is completely transferred. And there you go. It's super simple to do. And I really love how you're then able to incorporate this into other designs or have it be, kind of hanging out in a different area as well. So you've got a lot of really easy ways to incorporate those into your project. Okay, I'm going to bring back in my card so you can see again. I've added the Good Vibes rub-on up here at the top, so that's my sentiment. And then for the card inside, I have a strip of this wide fabric tape. So that's this one here, this design. And I love that you can use this almost as a pattern paper. And I've just applied it right along the edge of the card, and then I trimmed off the excess top and bottom. Then I've got a strip of patterned cardstock here, and I've got some more laser cut embellishments. So this botanical, the ticket, and a little butterfly on here. So this is a really handy way to work in that fabric tape as well. So just use that as another element like you would with pattern paper. Okay, I've got another card that I want to show you. And this is another example of using some of the fabric tape, but this time as border accents. So you can see it up here at the top and then down here at the bottom. So I've got one strip each of the two narrow designs. So these two here. And let me show you on my sample sheet. This was the one we saw earlier, and then these are the two that I'm working with. And I've overlapped them slightly, and I trimmed the ends at an angle, and you can use scissors to do that. So it won't hurt your scissors at all, but you're able to simply snip that into an angle if you want that. Now down here I've got another little butterfly rub-on, and this one is actually overlapping that fabric tape. So you can use your rub-ons right onto your pattern paper. You can also apply them onto that tape as well. And then I've got my card focal layered up. This is one of the ephemera pieces up on another ephemera piece. And I've matted the whole thing on a very narrow piece of the white glitter cardstock. So I've got a bigger piece here, and you can see it's got a really nice subtle shine and sheen to it. Again, like that gold ink pad, which I've used to edge around the outside, it adds a special touch, but it's not going to detract from your overall design of your card. So it really helps to support the overall message rather than creating a competing element. Now here I've got another rub-on as well, and then just a simple little bow down here. Then on the inside of my card, I've got some of that gorgeous pattern paper. I've got another rub-on and another ephemera piece and another ephemera piece here. These are all mounted up onto a tag. So you remember the tags all come with an eyelet and a string to attach them with. Well, you can use those, but you don't have to. So you could either simply trim that off or do as I did and simply remove the string and then cover up that eyelet with another embellishment, which is what I have done here. So lots and lots of possibilities, as I think you can see from these first two cards. Let's take a look at some more design options. I think some of you have probably noticed how much I love the tag in a bag cutting die, and today's collection is just perfect for this kind of project that's like a card but something just a little bit different, as you can see. Lots of fun to create. So I'm going to move aside these two pieces and let's take a look at the die that I'm using. So as you can see here, you've got two dies in this package. You've got one shape that will create the tag and a second one that will create the bag. Now, with the tag shape, let me show you this. So here's the die, and here's the fun part. Bring in a piece of this pattern paper, and you can use this to decide which section of your pattern paper you want to use to create your shape. So you could have something that's quite simple and collaged and you could build upon this, or you could make it quick and easy and use some of the pattern design that's already on here. So that's the tag shape. Now the bag shape also works the same way, and in this case with the 6x8 pattern papers, you don't have any waste on here. So all you need to do is just pop this down. It'll fit really well. Grab some of that low tack tape. I like the one from Hunky Dory, and tack that down with a couple of pieces on the sides and run it through your die cutting machine, and it will give you the, of course, the cutout edge. It will also give you the score lines in here, so it's easy to fold up. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'll move my package out of the way too, and you can see my demo piece, and I've just cut this from plain cardstock. So I've got the outside edge, I've got my score lines on here. So all I need to do, fold this up. For cardstock that's really sturdy, like the one from 49 and Market, I do recommend that you use a bone folder too, just to really score those lines firmly. So edge on here, and then the bottom portion too, and just give that some burnishing so that that will stay in place. Now the other thing I recommend, and again especially with that 49 and Market cardstock because it is a nice sturdy weight, grab some of the extra sticky tape, and this is the really narrow one, and this works perfectly because it will just fit on this little flap here, and this will ensure that everything holds together really nicely and nothing is going to pop open or surprise you or the recipient of your tag in a bag. Okay, I'm going to bring back in both of these elements here, and again we can take another look. So for my bag, as you can see, I've just used a piece of that collage pattern paper. This is what the back of it is going to look like. And then for the outside, I've layered some of the ephemera and tags and rub-on. So I've got lots of layers on here. I've got this frame here, which is one of the ephemera pieces. This is up on some foam tape. And before I added that onto this pattern paper that's back here, I looped around a bit of the string from the tag, added the rub-on onto this, and then popped that up on some foam tape. Then I have an ephemera piece back here. It's a really delicate one. So again, use some of that Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue to make sure that that stays in place and you don't have glue going everywhere. So this is up on foam tape and then just glued onto the front of my bag. Then for the tag, all I've done is use this on pattern paper. I've done some inking around the outside edge with that gold ink pad, and I added my rub-on sentiment on here. Now up at the top, I've got a loop of this fabric tape. Now here's what I've done. I simply cut off a piece of this and then put it sticky side to sticky side. Now I don't recommend doing this on camera or in mid-air, and working perhaps a bit more slowly, but you'll put the sticky side to the sticky side and then loop it around, and you will have a loop that can go on the top and bottom of your tag. So I've got a piece that I've done a bit more tidily, will look like this. And so loop it around like so, and then use a bit of glue to secure it at the top and the bottom of your tag. Now, or the front and the back of your tag. Now I've got a loop of this here, so it really does look like a fun ribbon, and it gives you something that's a little bit more tactile as well. So I secured that on here and then added a little ephemera piece with some foam tape to go up at the top. And I just think this is a really fun way to create a tag that's something just a little bit different. Of course, you could also tuck inside photos or a recipe or a note or a gift card as well to make it a gift as well as a card. Another one of my favorite projects is the mini folder. And like the tag in a bag, the mini folder is a great way to create a card that's something maybe just a little bit different. Now, in this case today, I've actually turned the mini folder into more of a gift item by adding a loop of fabric tape on here that can be a pencil or a pen holder. And then when I open this up, you can see the classic mini folder. I've got 2 pockets on here, and they're just perfect for tucking in photos, memorabilia, recipes, even a gift card as well. So let's take a look at the construction of this and how simple it is to do. And I'm going to move it out of the way for now, and we'll look at the die. So this is the one that I'm using. It is the mini folder cutting die set. And this is going to give me 3 cutting dies. So I've got the base piece here. This will cut the outside edges of the base piece. It will also give you that fold line in the center to score that up, and then you'll create your folded piece. Then you've got an additional 2 pieces here. Now these are the pockets to go right and left. And when you score those up and glue them in, then you will be able to create this mini folder piece. Now, on the back of all of Hot Off the Press's dies, they always give you some step-by-steps and a photo project idea in here just to help guide things along and make it a little bit easier. But this is super simple to do, one of my favorites. Okay, I'm going to bring in some of my demo pieces here. So as you can see, the folder piece itself is going to look kind of like just like a card base. Now again, as with the tag in a bag, when you're working with really sturdy cardstock like the one from 49 and Market, grab that bone folder. It's going to make things a lot easier. Just give that a nice crease. And this is going to be your base piece of your folder. Then you've got your 2 other shapes. So you've got your right and your left pockets to go inside the folder. Same thing, you're going to have the outside edge. You'll also have those score lines. Again, good idea to use that bone folder to score everything up really nicely before you use your extra sticky tape to secure everything in place. So with the pockets here, I've got everything folded. And what I would do then is use that extra sticky tape and secure this right in place. And then I've got my pockets. So of course you're going to be putting your extra sticky tape only onto those tabs to make sure that you keep that a functioning pocket. So you've got one for one side and then another for the other side, like so. So you can pop those in and have it ready to go. You can also, if you want to, add that little loop in there. Well, what I've done is taken the beautiful burgundy washi tape, or not washi tape, excuse me, the fabric tape, and the same process as with our tag in a bag project. I've simply looped it over so it's sticky side to sticky side, and then looped it over again. And then before I glued this into the folder, I glued that tab in there, like so. And this is again where that extra sticky tape is really important because you don't want this to be pulling and separating. Now another thing I would recommend is that you make sure that the loop is wide enough to hold either your pencil or your pen securely, but not so securely that you can't get it out again. So before you secure that all down, I would make sure that you can give it a test run with the pencil or the pen, whatever you're using to put inside there. Okay, so let me show you once again my project here, and we can take a closer look. So here you can see I've got my pencil looped in with that bit of fabric tape, and that can just slide in and out really nicely. So I've used my double-sided pattern paper for my card base. I added some rub-ons on here, some little swatches of the other styles of fabric tape on here. Got another little ephemera piece here. I've done some inking around all the outside edges with that gold ink pad just to create some dimension. Here's another rub-on down here. I love this one. And then on the inside, I've got another tag project. Now, my thought with this was that you could have a tag-shaped notepad in one pocket, and I just die cut lots of pieces of just scrap paper, white paper on here, and then bound everything together with a little piece of ribbon. So you can actually add more pieces in here, take them out as you need. And then it could be kind of a nice gift idea for someone who's always on the go, taking notes, and or recipes too. So you could also have some recipes or some words of wisdom, quotations, sentiments, all kinds of fun things that you could have tucked inside here. And then of course the pencil or pen is another nice touch. Then for the front, I've got a laser cut frame on here, plus a small tag with a rub-on and some butterfly and botanical ephemera on here. Inside the frame is a rub-on, and that's this really pretty kind of scuffy text that you see behind here. Now I applied that onto white vellum and then just layered it behind the ephemera pieces for a bit more dimension. So I wanted to show this to you. Now, when you're using your rub-ons on vellum, it works beautifully and it creates a really nice layer of dimension. One thing you want to be really careful about though, when you're using your rub-on applicator, because vellum can crease and mark really easily, just be sure that you're using a bit more of a light touch when you're doing that. But then you've got this really cool element that can be used on top of different styles of pattern paper. So look how different that will look if you're putting it up here as opposed to on the green tones. Just really gorgeous. And again, gives you another nice layer to work with. Beautiful. And that's what I've used on the back of my piece here, just tucked inside that frame. Create some nice dimension and fun style on here. And then finally, I mentioned earlier that you can use the tags on gift packages. So I wanted to show you this simple little box. Now I had a box, happened to have one of these boxes on hand in my crafting area. Perhaps you're like me and you save these kinds of things. So I wanted to show you how easy it was to incorporate some of these elements into a gift package too. So I wrapped around the entire portion of the box with this pattern paper. This is like a matchbox style, so the recipient wouldn't have to rip everything apart, quite easy to open. And then I've added another piece of cardstock here on the top. Then I wrapped it with some ribbon and secured the tag on top, and I've got a rub-on and a little butterfly piece of ephemera on here. So simple and easy to do, and I think it's also a fun way to use some of these gorgeous pattern papers and ephemera pieces, not only for the cards that we love to do, but also for some gift items as well. So let me pull out some of these other things that we've done today. Quite a lot that we've worked on today in our webisode, but these are our final projects for the day. And this is all featuring, of course, the Plum Grove collection from 49 and Market. A big, big thank you to our friends at 49 and Market, and a special thanks to you for joining me today. We're always so glad that you're here, and we're really happy that you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, just see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.